Oh my goodness, guys, what a way to end off the road trip. Raptors win 114-105 over the Sacramento Kings and improve to 11-1 on the year. And for the first time in franchise history, they sweep the 4-game road trip out west. I don't know if it's like a 4-game road trip in general they've swept or if it's a 4-game road trip out west. You guys can clarify that. The news will probably come out by the time you guys see this video anyways, but this game was not pretty. We know that for a fact. Like I said, Raptors win only by 9, but you know what? Like I did with the Dallas Mavericks, I have to give a ton of credit. Look, the Sacramento Kings have a lot of young talent. De'Aaron Fox. They have Buddy Hield, who was fantastic there tonight. Willie Cauley-Stein was fantastic tonight. Bagley, as he only played 25 minutes. I mean, it did add up over time, but he had 13 points, 3 rebounds. 19 years old, great-looking young player. Bogdanovich is a good-looking young player. They have some players that are young and developing, and they look good. Very good offensive team. Defensively, they might need to shake things up a little bit and obviously with young players, the defense comes a little bit later. But, like I said with the Mavericks, great seeing Luka Doncic the way he was. And this team with Sacramento, they have quite a few young offensive prolific players. And they just look to continue to develop into a very good team. Now, as for the Toronto Raptors, Kawhi Leonard is back in the lineup today. No CJ Miles, no Norman Powell. We hear he's going to be out at least 4 to 6 weeks with that shoulder injury. Not good news if you're a Raptor fan right now. Look, Norman Powell was playing great. In his very limited role, guys, he was playing very well for this team when he was out there, and it's really hard to see him go down like that. CJ Miles dealing with some small injury, but he really hasn't played well. The crazy thing is about CJ, guys, he came into camp looking so good, working out, thinning down, looking really good out there, but it hasn't affected his shot or anything. He hasn't been making more shots. He's been worse than last year. I think we can all agree on that. But let's talk about this game. And other than the fourth quarter where the Raptors were -7, they won the first 3 quarters. And they won the first one by 3. And that's significant in itself because at one point the Raptors were stuck, 6 points with like 3 or 4 minutes to go in that first quarter. And they end up being +3 at the end of it. Great way to close out the quarter, guys. It's not how you start the quarter. It's how you close it and how, same thing in hockey. Closing periods, opening periods. It's the same thing. And then the second quarter, Raptors just pummel the Sacramento Kings 35-25. The offense is flowing. Lots of ball movement. Lots of baskets. And the Raptors are up by 13 at the half. Again, don't get too much craziness going on there in the third quarter. +3. But now you're +16 at the end of 3 quarters of play, and you really haven't played all that well. Guys, turnovers was a big issue in this game. 21 turnovers in the game for the Raptors. Not what you want to see. That is the one thing that had to be cleaned up from this game, if you want to look at it from that standpoint. But guys, this was a road game against a team. This is the first time, all right, in franchise history the Raptors have won back-to-back road games in Sacramento. How bad Sacramento has been over the last how many years? And this is the first time ever you've gone back-to-back, and ideally you only play them once a year on the road, but you're telling me you've never beaten them twice in a row? Tells you how tough it is to play there, how bad the Raptors are there, period. And they come out with the victory today. Kawhi Leonard, guys, in his first game back, I didn't shoot the ball extremely well, 7 of 17, but he was 9 of 9 from the free throw line, 2 of 5 from 3, and he had 25 points, 11 rebounds, and a couple dimes, and that's not really great. Kawhi Leonard, incredible. He's not 100% yet. We all know that. Obviously not playing in consecutive games on back-to-backs. Obviously that little bit of a jammed foot he had there, sat out for a couple games. So now he's just trying to get back into the mix again. So guys, I mean, he was, Kawhi Leonard wasn't what we've gotten used to seeing lately, but he was still really good. And Pascal Siakam, guys, this guy continues to make strides and show us how much of a beast he is. 21 points, 3 boards and assists, 8 of 11 shooting, 1 steal in the game, and in 35 minutes of work, he was incredible, making Koufos look like an idiot. He was incredible, you know? And I thought he did an incredible job making a lot of their defenders have tough times. But a lot of the things that go unnoticed, when you see guys like Siakam doing his thing and Lowry doing his thing and Kawhi Leonard doing his thing, the big men. Now, obviously we know what Serge Ibaka has done for this team, right? He's been a beast to start the year. But JV really hasn't got a lot of credit. Let's go through this real quick. Ibaka, 14 points, 14 rebounds on 6 of 10 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 blocks in the game, and he was a plus 5 on the floor. Incredible job by Serge Ibaka in this game. Lowry didn't get his double-double. I mean, we've gotten used to seeing that he was about to break a franchise record when it comes to, I think he had 8 assists in the game. I think the stat line is wrong here. I think he had 16 points and 8 assists. I could be wrong with some of the other stats they might not have updated on here. But that's what I'm reading right now. It could be a few numbers off on some of these guys, but overall, that's kind of what you're getting here, right? OG Anunoby, I thought he was pretty darn good for the second straight game, right? Obviously, he had 17 points in the last game in Kawhi's absence, but he had 11 points, 7 boards on 5 of 9 shooting. He had a steal in the game. He was plus 13 on the floor in only 24 minutes of work. I thought he was great in his limited time. And JV, 11 points, 10 rebounds in 20 minutes, 4 of 6 shooting, 3 of 4 from the field, and a plus 4 on the floor. I thought JV was very good. Look, guys, you combine Serge Ibaka and Jonas Valanciunas' numbers. What do they have here? 25 points, 24 rebounds from 2 big men. And you're telling, like, if they played together, would they have those numbers? No. And the crazy thing is, even with those guys not being together, they're still doing their work, and other guys are stepping up. Look, Danny Green wasn't great offensively today. 6 points, 5 boards, 2 assists on 2 of 10 shooting, 2 of 8 from 3. But he had 3 steals in the game, and he was a plus 11 while he was out there. Danny Green, if his shot ain't falling, is going to do other things to help your team win a ball game, and we saw that here today. Van Vliet, only 8 points on 3 of 9 shooting, but that was OG at plus 13. Freddie Van Vliet was a plus 3 on the floor. He didn't have a great game in this one. But guys, this was not a pretty performance whatsoever. Turnovers were high. A lot of weird things going on. I think the free throws were really lopsided. Actually, they were really lopsided. Came back down to earth, actually. 23-18 in favor of the Raptors. It was at one point like 20-8 or 20-7 or something like that. But let's look at the rebound category. Ridiculously outmatched. The Toronto Raptors did a ridiculously good job here tonight. 53-29 on the glass. 13-4 on the offensive glass. Incredible job. Assists were down, though, only 17, guys. 10 steals to them, their 10. 4 blocks to their 4. But the turnovers were the problem. You know, if you kind of want to find, like, as much as we love seeing wins and all that kind of stuff, you want to find the negatives and kind of work on those. If you want to find one, it's the turnover numbers. The rest of the game, I didn't think they were all that terrible. I mean, it was a scrappy game. It was a grindy game. It was But the thing is, guys, Nick Nurse is continuously showing me how smart he actually is. Now, coming into the coaching job, all we expected was Dwayne Casey. You see Nick Nurse, you think, Dwayne Casey. That's what you believe, right? Well, Pascal Siakam, guys, was playing great down the stretch. He was playing great the entire game. He's at 30 minutes, and he went out with like 5 or 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, are they really going to sit him the rest of the game? No, they put him down for a minute or two, get his breath back, and then put him back out there because he was playing well in the game. You're playing the guys who are good. You're not just in your own system. Oh, well, these guys are my starters, so they're going out there. That's what Coach Casey was. And the thing I love about Nick Nurse, he does not let things get out of hand. We have a 14-point lead. They cut it to 7. Timeout. Right out of the timeout, we go on a 6-0 run. We're back up to 13. I've noticed with Nurse, and guys, I really want you guys to keep an eye on in games to come. Plays out of the timeout. I think Nick Nurse has done a terrific job early on in the season, drawing plays up. I don't know if it's him, I don't know if it's Kyle or Kawhi driving those talks, or if Nick Nurse has a plan and he's going right to it. And if that's the case, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Nick Nurse here early on in the year. Now, ideally, when your team is 11-1, of course he's going to look good, right? But nonetheless, This team did a great job on the road against some really tough teams. You know, ideally some of them were shorthanded. You look at, where were we here? I'm trying to find it here. So yeah, Phoenix, not a very good team, right? Lakers, you beat LeBron James without Kawhi Leonard. That period is a good statement in itself. Utah, they didn't have Donovan Mitchell, but we didn't have Kawhi Leonard either, so you kind of want to throw that away. And there was a second half of a back-to-back. Guys, this team has showed us through this 4-game stretch, no matter if they're home or away, this team will play hard and play to win. And that's what we love to see. Last year, we had the best home record in the NBA. That was great. But when we hit the road, we really didn't know what we were going to see. This right there proves, at least to me, this team is pretty darn good. Next up for the Toronto Raptors, though, they come home for the first time, and it feels like forever, for I want to say a regular time game, but it's not. Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock tip-off at home, taking on the New York Knicks. It's very weird. The Raptors come home for 1. I think they go on the road afterwards, actually. Nope, they Pelicans at home, Detroit at home, then Friday, November 16th in Boston. That's going to be a doozy of a game, guys. But we still have 3 games in between those. You can't look past anybody because the NBA is the NBA. And a team, if you look by them, they'll find a way to beat you. That's the way it works, all right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed this video, and you guys enjoyed the game today. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below, guys. What'd you think of the game today? Who's your MVP? If I had to give it to somebody, I would give it to Pascal Siakam. I thought he was stellar on the offensive end today. When this team needed some big baskets, he got it. You could give it to Kawhi Leonard. Why? Because he's flipping Kawhi Leonard and he's a stud. You could also give it to Kyle Lowry. Serge Ibaka with a 14-14 game. But in my choice, I'd give it to Pascal Siakam because he was fantastic there today. All right? So I want to hear what you guys have to say about the game, the early impressions about Nick Nurse, this team in their 4-game stretch. Also, what are your expectations for Saturday against the New York Knicks? All right, so Evan and I will talk to you guys Saturday. What'll be Saturday evening, night, whatever you want to call it. It'll be probably 8:30 or something. Upload, guys. Podcast edition. Link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes, guys. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys Leafs edition Friday night as the Buds take on the New Jersey Devils. At home, at Scotiabank Arena, looking for their 3rd straight victory. They won a game with their offense against Pittsburgh. Frederick Anderson won them a game against Vegas last night. They look to build on those 2 victories against the Devils on Friday night before a back-to-back against Boston on Saturday night. It's going to be a tough 2 games for the Leafs, but we'll have to talk to you guys then, see how it goes. And as for the Toronto Raptors, guys, like we said, they take on the New York Knicks Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock tip-off, back at home at Scotiabank Arena as Raps look to continue on this great roll that they are on here, looking for their 6th straight victory and go 12-1. On the young season so far. It's been an incredible ride. You can't take your foot off the gas yet, though. Got to keep on pounding. It's a long season. And let's see what this team can do Saturday against the Knicks as the Raptors come home to take on New York, looking for, like I said, their 6th straight victory. We'll talk to you guys then.